Hey guys, we welcome back to another episode of Who is Better Driver versus series. This is episode number 3 of this series. And in the last episode, we managed to do Ricky Stenhouse Jr. versus Austin Dillon on 2 different series. That Stenhouse was better in the Xfinity series from 2012 and 2011 of both of those seasons. And Austin Dillon's 2012-2013. So Dillon, so far in the career in the Cup, Dillon is a little better. So now, we all have a favorite team in NASCAR. We all have a favorite driver, a favorite team. But it's tough when sometimes you want to compare 2 drivers that were in the same corporation to determine who was better. And we're talking about Jimmie Johnson versus Jeff Gordon. The mentor versus the student. That's what I'm going to call it. That's who we're going to be comparing today. So here we go. So in races, this is Jeff Gordon's 1993 to 2009 versus Jimmie Johnson's 2002 to 2018. So basically a span of 17 years through those times. And now you can put, this is what I'm going off of what I got. You can all put a bunch of criticism of what you have to say in terms of tracks, who has more wins than who, whatsoever. Doesn't matter. What I'm going off is basically what I did in the past with the wins, top 10s, top 5s, poles, laps led, start, finish, champs, whatever. So here we go. The races on Jeff Gordon. He has made 580 starts from the start of 93 to 2009. Jimmie Johnson, throughout the course of this, in 2002 to 2018, 612. So obviously, around that time, Jimmie Johnson is more better and made more starts than Gordon has. And in wins category, this one was really close. I actually looked this up. 93 to 2009, Gordon, 82. Jimmie Johnson, 83 from 2002 to 2018. By 1 win, Jimmie Johnson had a little bit of the upper hand. Top 5s during this time. Jeff Gordon, 263 top 5s. Jimmie Johnson, 224. So Gordon has the upper hand. Top 10s, 361 top 10s versus Jimmie Johnson's 352. So that is, wow, pretty impressive if you ask me. Poles. Jeff Gordon has 68 poles, and Jimmie Johnson has 35 poles. In laps led, 20,738 for Jeff Gordon from 93 to 2009. And Jimmie Johnson's 18,703. Wow. Not like wow, but just wow. Not criticism. I like the Hendrick Motorsports. Don't get me wrong. Do not criticize me for hating them. I like them. It's just sometimes the how I rephrase this. It's sometimes the numbers, the comparison between 2 guys, if it's a wide margin, then it's like pure domination. It's like watching a college basketball game where it's so bored if your favorite college leads a big one, like in the second half, like by 30 plus points. You know how boring that will be? It will be completely boring. Anyways, back into this. Average start. 9.7 for Jeff Gordon for 93 to 2009. And Jimmie Johnson throughout the course of his career, except for this year, which I'm not going to count for because I'm going to wait for the end of the season. 11.8 on the average start. So Gordon has a little bit of upper hand. The average finish, 12.2. And Jimmie Johnson, 12.5. This one was really close, I'm not going to lie. Now this next part, the championships, this is when this one gets crazy. Jeff Gordon has 4 championships, which was 95, 97, 98, and 2001. Those were the 4 championships he's won. Jimmie Johnson has 7. Including the span of 5 in a row from 2006, 2007, 8, 9, and 10. Then he won in 2013, and he managed to tie Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt in 2016. Winless seasons. Jeff Gordon has 2, Jimmie Johnson has 1. Now I'm trying to think here. Jeff Gordon did manage to win Rookie of the Year. Jimmie Johnson, going back, there would have been some controversy, like if it weren't for the record that Ryan Newman set up in 2002, I think Jimmie Johnson would have won the Rookie of the Year in 2002. But since that happened, that was kind of difficult. So, how I explain this? In some categories, yes, Jimmie Johnson is better. I will give you guys that. But in terms of from what the span from 1993 to 2009, Jeff Gordon, to 2002 to 2018, Jimmie Johnson, from off the stats that I just pulled off. No offense to Jimmie Johnson fans and Jeff Gordon haters or whatever it is, no offense to anybody. But it's hard to predict that, even though Jimmie Johnson was good at his prime as well, but it is tough when Jeff Gordon, on a very few, maybe a handful of seasons in the late 1990s, a little bit early 2000s, was really at his prime. So I have to say, if you have to go to primes from in certain decades time frames, I have to pick Jeff Gordon. I really would. No offense to Jimmie Johnson. I like Jimmie Johnson, and I would love to see him try to go for an 8th title before he retires. But in terms of what Jeff Gordon has done in an accomplishment, yes, he got all the criticism he has and all that, and the greatest of sportsmanships and all. But, it's hard to predict in some of the years, even though there were not as many tracks that were open back in the time frames in the 1990s. But it's hard to predict when Jeff Gordon was just dominating everybody in his prime back then. Like 1998's 13-win season. That one was hard to predict. So if I have to determine who is better, and you could put a bunch of criticisms you could put down in the comments, I can read them. Whatever it is, Jeff Gordon to me would have been better than Jimmie Johnson. No offense. Even though from back on a couple of categories I read off, Jimmie Johnson has 7 championships and only 1 winless season, which was the 2018 season, and more starts and wins than maybe around that time compared to 93's and 2009 Jeff Gordon's season. But it's just hard to predict that Jeff Gordon, in some stats, was way better. And the funny thing is, both of them, I think, were a little bit of a bust. But Jimmie Johnson had like 1 win in Xfinity. Jeff Gordon had like 5. But they were almost completely a bust in the Xfinity series. They both didn't ran trucks. Because trucks didn't exist back then during Jeff Gordon's time. And I don't know if Jimmie Johnson was actually good driving the trucks. Or just didn't like it. So that's just my take. But anyways, that is my pick. If I had to choose, Jeff Gordon is my pick for who is better. So honestly, if you got criticism that you're going to want to spit at me, just put it down in the comments. I'll read them, whatever it is. So hope you all have enjoyed this video. This 3rd episode of Who is Better between Jimmie Johnson and Jeff Gordon. So hopefully I'll come back with something different possibly in the next week or 2. If you got any suggestions, please fill them down, put them in the comments for any requests that you guys might have. So hopefully I'll see you all in the next Who is Driver episode, and let's go racing. I'll see you all in the next week or 2. Bye-bye.